Hi, everyone. I think we're still waiting for a few. The way it looks, I just had a couple of messages about a couple people having an issue getting in. So I think we'll just wait a couple of seconds and then we'll get started. Can everyone hear me? There should be a little chat button. So if you click on that, you can let me know what's going on, and I have that open here too. So if you can hear me and you're in and you're good, just say hello in the chat, just so I know that we're good to start. Perfect. I see Shonda. I see Kim. Perfect. And Terry. All right. Sounds good. From Vancouver. Nice. All right. Okay. All right. Yeah, it looks like we're set because I think I have all the participants here that signed up. And I think well, actually, yeah, we'll get started and then there will be a replay as well. So, everyone, my name is Dan Malt. I know you probably know that because you signed up and you saw my page. I just a little bit about myself. I teach third grade. I've taught third grade and fourth grade in the past, and for the last couple of years, I have taught third grade. With that being said, before we get started, let's just do a quick intro. I just wanna find out a little bit more about you. So let's see if we can run this poll. And I'm going to launch this poll and see if you can see this one. So if you can see this, go ahead and respond. So my question is, what grade levels do you teach? So pre-K through sixth. If you teach something other, you can let me know in the comments because there wasn't enough spots in there. So that's what I have. So all right, so we have a couple third grade, actually 3 third grade, a fourth grade. Perfect. All right, sounds good. All right, so let's head back over. Let's head back over to what we're going to do tonight. So, couple of things. This is pretty much what the agenda I have planned for tonight. So we introduce each other, have our poll. So the next thing we're going to talk about, we're going to get into just the daily routines of vocabulary, and I'll ask you a couple questions about that in a second, just to kind of know where we are. We're going to start with the daily routines of vocabulary, so the actual instructions. So we'll talk about a foldable that I use. We'll talk about some centers that I use. I also have some digital graphic organizers, and we'll talk about how I use those as well. And then after that, I do want to go over a couple of online resources. These online resources, these are things that they don't have to be done every day, but they are things that things that you can bring into your classroom that may just help increase just practice for your kids. And also, it's a lot of fun. So hopefully those two things you can bring into your classroom. And like I said, those things will just motivate your kids to learn some of that new vocabulary. And then at the end, we'll just have a little bit of time for questions if you have any. Okay. All right. So let me ask you I'm going to ask you another question here. And I want to go to question number 2 and ask you this. So do you currently have a vocabulary program in your classroom? Do you currently have one? So we have a yes, a no, and a sorta. So maybe a little bit of something. Okay, actually, that's really funny because almost everybody said sorta. And you know what? I think that's something that I see a lot of, is that a lot of teachers are just like, yeah, I have some things. I weave it in as I can. Or a few years ago, I even had things in my classroom that it was out of our series that we use. However, I picked and pulled and kind of pieced things together as much as I could for the kids. So that's kind of where I was, and that's why I thought, you know what, I need something that's a little more. It's more for my kids that they're going to be able to use every single day for vocabulary instruction. So, okay, so let's head back over. Here. So I want to talk a little bit about the word of the day, foldable. So I did create this a few years ago. Right now, I have one for foldable for grades 3 and 4, and then 5 and 6. Okay, I'm trying to break those apart a little bit just so they're a little more consistent as far as, because again, I have taught third grade and fourth grade, so I can use it in third grade, and then I can use a new version with new words in fourth grade. Right now, there's a grade 3-4 version, and then for 5-6. So let me show you what that looks like. In my classroom every morning, the kids, I start these on a Monday. I hope you can see this. Actually, you know what? Let me see if I can make the screen just a little bit bigger here. Okay. All right, hopefully that helps a little bit. And I think it's backwards too. I hope you can see this. But so this is a word of the day foldable that we use in my classroom, and it's just one piece of paper per student for every single week. Let's. Okay, can everyone still hear me? I just want to make sure that you can still hear me because I just got a notification saying that Maybe some couldn't. Okay. All right. I think, let's see here. Sorry, guys. Hang on one second. Okay. All right. Perfect. Yeah, I just got a notification saying that that you couldn't hear me, that my microphone wasn't working. So, okay. So this right here is our foldable, and the foldable is 4 days worth of words. So on this one, the first word is sturdy. The second one is reply. We have voyage, and then shiver. So we have 4 words per week. So I do this Monday through Thursday. And when I do this, basically what I'm going to do is I'm going to give this to my students every morning when they come in. So they get it on Monday morning. And then each day they know they come in for morning work. They have the word. It tells this part of speech that it is. Also, it asks it gives the definition and then antonyms. I also have a second version where there's synonyms on there as well. And I try to like change those up a bit just so the kids are practicing with synonyms and antonyms. They're going to draw a picture to illustrate the word, which I'll talk about in a second. And then on the back, they write a sentence using the word. So on the back, I just have some lines so the kids can actually write a sentence there as well. So they do 1 word a day. After they're finished, then we go over it, we talk about it. The kids always like to show off their pictures that they drew for each other. And I use, if anyone has like a hover cam or some sort of document camera, the kids love when coming up and putting their pictures, just their little pictures up on the screen so all of their peers can see that. So we do that 1 day. So that's it for 1 day for this piece of vocabulary instruction. So honestly, this probably takes me around 5 to 10 minutes. It's not very long. And that's fine because we go over the words throughout the day as well. Okay, for the rest of the day, there are a couple more activities that I weave in as well. So then the next day they come in, the kids come in and they know that they need to do the second day. On Wednesday of the week, they do the third day, and then on Thursday they do the last day. So after that, on Fridays, there is a little bit of a quiz that goes along with this. And I do have these, like I said, I have them bundled together where the kids are doing these Monday through Thursday, and then on Friday they take a little bit of a quiz. I use the quizzes in different ways. Sometimes I use the quizzes where it is an actual quiz grade, and then there are some weeks where I have the kids work together to do the quiz. So it's really up to you how you use it and how much time you have, because we all know that is the number one reason. The teachers that I've talked to, that's the number one reason why we're not using or not doing vocabulary instruction as much as we should is because of time. So that is what I use as the foldable. Now I do want to show you one more piece of this. So I do a lot of centers in my room, and I'm not sure if everyone else does. So as I'm doing like guided reading with students, or as I'm doing small group reading, or if I'm working with just a small group of kids with something else in ELA, I have centers around the classroom. So with that being said, I also have, and I'm going to try to hold this up a little bit. So I have these boxes. I don't know if you've seen these boxes. They're from Michael's. They have them on Amazon too. It's actually a photo box, and there's 16 little bins inside of it. And what I did is I have inside of each one, you can see there's a card inside. There's actually 4 different cards. So on the inside, there are 4 different cards, and there's different activities on the back. So there's one called Picture It. There's another activity that's called, there's an acrostic poem. Another one that is a vocabulary map. And then one that's called Definitions, Sentences, and Synonyms. Oh my. So we have a few different activities in here. And then what I do is each day, these do correlate with the word of the day foldables that we do in the morning. So that's for about 5 or 10 minutes in the morning. And then these I use during center time just so the kids can get a little more practice with that word. And again, this is just one center. Typically I have the kids working on this for about 10 to 15 minutes or so, but it really depends. And these can be used in different ways too. I know some teachers have told me that they use these as a whole class activity. So if you want to skip the foldable altogether and just do some sort of activity like this, that's perfect. And what I found with these is it's really great because there are different activities on the back. Some of the kids prefer that choice to do those. So just to build in choice into your classroom, there are a few different options in here. So the word of the day centers, they do go along with the foldables. They're the same words. However, you don't have to use both. You can use one or the other, or if you want to give the kids a little more practice, you can have them do both. Okay. So I want to go back quickly, I'm going to head back over to the PowerPoint because I want to show you something that's actually fairly important here. So let me jump back over. And let's quickly talk about this. Let's talk about the types of words that I included here. So really, when we think about vocabulary, and this is there have been a lot of studies done, and this is from a vocabulary book that I read a few years ago. There's really three types of words, and I have seen other books that go the opposite way. So tier 1 words in this case are words that we use in everyday speech. Like I said, I've seen these flip-flop before, but this is one of the ways that I think about vocabulary. So tier 1 words, these are the words that we use in our everyday speech. These are typically learned through conversation and don't really require a lot of instruction after 1st to 2nd grade. In 3rd and 4th grade, or even the tail end of 2nd grade, if students still are not really they have a difficult time with conversation and they're really struggling for just those basic words, you may need to provide some intervention for the students. In my school, we use RTI, so that could be something that you start thinking about. If students are really struggling with just basic conversation, maybe they need some help with those tier 1 words. Tier 2 words. Tier 2 words are the high frequency words that occur across grade levels or context levels. They're words that we use by mature language users. Tier 2 words are important for students to learn and know to enhance comprehension of selected text. So if a student is reading a text and they're really struggling with some of those words, well, this is where we can help students. And this is where a program like this, where a word of the day or those centers, that is the vocabulary that we're teaching kids that is going to help them comprehend a text. So those are tier 2 words. And then tier 3 words. Tier 3 words, those are those low frequency words that maybe kids don't hear a lot, or that they're for a specific domain or content area. And I also put in here, I should have said that this isn't actually from the study, but I just put in here for school, thinking about science and social studies and other subjects that are very targeted at school. Those are the words that are tier 3 words, ones that we don't really use every single day, but words that, as the kids get older, they still need to know those words. So everything we're talking about here tonight really is a tier 2 word, because those are the words that we need to have. We need to provide targeted instruction to students with. Okay. So that's what we have. That's what I use on a daily basis. I use the, like I said, I use the foldable, and I also use the centers, and they go together, and that just provides a nice way to bring in a daily dose of vocabulary usage and instruction for my kids. Now, like I said, talking about how long this takes, because that's a question I get a lot. This usually takes me, like I said, the foldable in the morning, 5 to 10 minutes. It really depends. But if it's morning work, if you're using that for morning work, that's perfect. I don't know about everyone else and how your school day, how it looks, but really, I think a lot of schools, and including my school, we have that first 15 minutes, and my kids are coming in, they're unpacking, ordering their lunch, doing their agenda. My kids do their agenda first thing in the morning, and as soon as they're done with their agenda, they know that they go straight for the word of the day. So it's really just about how you set it up in your classroom, but that's always a great thing to do in the morning for me, because I know I really don't need to provide very much instruction with this. This is something that everything is there for them. They have it in front of them. If they do have questions, they're asking a buddy, they're getting help with that word. And then we have that conversation about the word, and that's it. They put it back in their folder and we take it out the next day. So any questions about that? If you do have any questions, you can pop it in the chat if you want to, or if you want to ask, there is a Q&A button as well. The Q&A goes privately to me, so if you don't want to share it with the entire group, that's okay. But if you do want to do the chat, you could just ask me in there if you want to bring it up in front of the entire group. Okay. Okay. All right. So now I want to show you a couple of other things. Let me go ahead and I'm going to show you a couple of digital resources. You know what? Let me know in the chat quickly if anyone in here uses Google Classroom. Anyone use Google Classroom in here? I know my school, we're just getting Chromebooks last year in 4th grade. My entire 4th grade, they received Chromebooks, and this year, all of 3rd grade is getting Chromebooks as well. So yeah, I see that a couple of you, perfect. Okay, so Kim, you're going 1-to-1 this year. Awesome. Learning now, taking your class. Perfect. All right, that sounds good. I have a lot of tips there. So Google Classroom. Okay, that's actually more than okay. So I see Megan, you're 1-to-2, so that's fine. All right, perfect. So let me share a couple of things. So In the last few days, I've been thinking, because we are getting the Chromebooks, I wanted to bring in something that I wanted to bring it in so the kids could be using more technology in our vocabulary. So just as this is more of a, if I have a few minutes in the day, the kids are going to be able to go in here and they're going to be able to practice their vocabulary through Google Drive. So I might be able to I'll assign the students some work in Google Classroom for vocabulary. If they get to it, fantastic. If we don't, then it is what it is, and that's the way teaching goes. So I'll just show you a couple of the things that we have here. So let's see. That is not what I want. Hang on a second. Reading, graphic organizers. Okay. So in Google Classroom, last year we had a cart that we could use for third grade, but we were not technically one-to-one, so the kids really didn't get a ton of time. But last year, what I found myself doing a lot with that, because we didn't have them, I was assigning the kids work. They were reading, they were doing things, but there wasn't a lot of interactivity. So I wanted to try to change that a little bit this year. So I'm going to share this screen with you, and I'm going to see. Let's see here. Okay. All right. So these are some of the graphic organizers that I made. They're interactive digital graphic organizers that you can share with students in Google Classroom or Google Drive, and the kids could actually do the work inside of there. So let me head down, and I'm just going to find a vocabulary one. I made 4 different ones because I know some people teach vocabulary differently. What's also great about this, if the program that I was talking about earlier with the foldables and the centers, those have specific words built into them. So I already have a list of the vocabulary already created. Where these digital resources that I'm going to show you now, these ones are actually, you can put in your own words. So if you have content specific words, if you have other words, then you can use those. So let me just pull up a couple of different ones here. So first of all, let's do the single word. Okay. So this would be a digital resource. It is in Google Slides, but I can share this out with my students in Google Classroom. So this is a vocabulary activity where the kids are going to enter the word, what I think the word means, the actual definition, a picture that shows the meaning of the word, synonyms of the word, and then a sentence using the word as well. So again, they can do this in Google Classroom and in the slides, and then they can share it back with you if they get to it. So again, this for me, and maybe you would use it differently, but for me, I'm going to use this as just an extra challenge. And this is also perfect for those times where the kids come up to you and say, okay, what do I do now, right? So this is a perfect way for you to say, hey, you know what, go into Google Drive and do your vocabulary activity just as an extension. But maybe instead, maybe you would want to use this in place of the centers. I mean, so you can pick and pull and piece things together, but I would highly suggest that you start with the foldable as kind of a basis for everything. Okay, so that's one of the digital resources. Let me show you a couple of the others. Somebody asked me for, let's see here. A teacher asked me to do one where there was very similar to the foldable, where it had 4 columns. That way they could put this in each day. So the kids could take that and then just put it over inside of here. Now, the teacher also said, can you put a place for a picture? And one of the things that I said was, okay, well, are you going to teach your kids to go online and grab that? So yeah, I mean, that is something that you would need to help your kids with initially, finding a picture online that goes along with the word, and then copying and pasting it inside of this document so they have it for the week. So, so that is an option for a digital resource as well. And then I'll just show you, let me see, I'll show you one more here as well. This one, once it loads, there we go. So this one is just a single word. So they can, if you wanted to do this one on a daily basis, so again, if you wanted to do this in place of the centers, you could do this. So they could type their word of the day in here, and then inside of these boxes, they could actually just go down and they can type in the definition and type in the part of speech and so on and so forth. Okay, so that is an option. That's an option as well. If you don't have Google Classroom yet, then that's okay. I think eventually everybody's going to be headed down that path, just because that's, I think, the way that education is headed. So, okay, so those are some digital resources that I have available. Let's see here. And I am going to, just so you know, and I told everyone initially that I was going to do a giveaway. So I'm just going to give you, if you email me at the end of this, and I'll put up my email address. If you email me, I will email you the links for all of those digital resources so you can have those. If you use Google Classroom, great. If you don't, then maybe you can share it with somebody who does use it. So I will send you the links to all of those digital resources at the end. Okay. All right. So now let's head over to let's go back over here, and I want to go back here for a second. We're going to talk about a couple of online resources. So we'll do vocabulary and Spelling City, and we'll also talk about Quizlet. In the chat, if anyone, we'll start with vocabulary and Spelling City. If you've used Spelling City, just let me know quickly. And if everyone has used it, then obviously I'll kind of go quickly through it. But if we haven't used it, then I'll show you what that is. Let's see. So we have, okay, perfect. So a couple people have for spelling, but not vocabulary. You know what? And it's funny because even up until probably about a year and a half ago, I didn't really use it for vocabulary either. And then I saw what it can do for the kids. So you can definitely spelling, not vocabulary. Okay, yeah, perfect. All right, so let me quickly go to that. And we'll quickly talk about Spelling City. All right, so Spelling City, for those of you who may not know what it is, I'm just going to go through a quick demo. And it's not, this right here is not the full version, so know that when you go to Vocabulary Spelling City, it's actually just spellingcity.com. So it does say at the top vocabularyspellingcity.com, but you can actually just go to spellingcity.com. And it takes you right there. There is an app for this as well. So, and this is a paid service. So you can pay for the service, and then if you choose to download the app, you can do that as well. It's an iPad app. I'm not totally sure, and maybe somebody does know this. I'm not sure if there is an Android version or not, to be very honest with you. So we would have to check into that. But definitely an iPad version or a version for Apple. All right, so this is just a quick demo of what it looks like. So if you type in the words, and these are 4 of the words that we would use in the series, in the foldable. So I just typed in 4 words here. So faux, sturdy, enigma, and slumber. So once we do continue, let's see here. Once we do continue, okay. So then it automatically brings them into these games. Now you can set this up for your kids. So you can actually, if you don't want them to do any spelling activities, you can set it so they do no spelling activities at all. If you don't want them to do phonics activities along with this, you don't have to do that either. If maybe you just want them to do writing activities and vocabulary activities, that's totally fine. So I'll just go to, I'm just going to go to the vocabulary, and hopefully you can see this. I just want to make sure you can hear it as well. Yes. Okay. All right. So the kids get a bunch of games. There's some that are very, I should say this, there's some activities on here that are very game-like, and then there are others that are extremely okay, here's the word and here's the definition. So fairly straightforward. So you have a couple of different options in there. And the other nice thing about this is that you can set the games and the activities that your kids play. So you can turn them on, turn them off, and that way they're good to go. Candace asked me if I would provide you with information at the end of this. I will send you tomorrow you'll get an email, and in that email I will send you the PowerPoint along with links. So you'll have everything that I just showed here. And also there is, I'll send you a link to the video playback of this entire thing. Okay, so hopefully that helps a little bit. Okay, so let me show you what this game looks like. Test your skill. Feel the drama. So it's exciting. The kids love it. It is very game-like, but again, there are some really great games.
Welcome to another round of everybody's favorite wild, weird,
so instead of just for spelling, because I know a couple of you said that was with me too. I used it for spelling, but I didn't use it for
read the antonym and choose the word that matches
for vocabulary as well. So, in this case, this word, it goes along with, so we're studying antonyms and synonyms. So an antonym of friend. So let's see, if I choose the right one, it will.
That's the one.
Give me that feedback and let me know that I was correct.
Read the sentence and choose the word
a blank shelf can hold heavy books. Let me pick the incorrect version and see what it does here. So it just tells me no.
Another chance.
and it says that I have another chance. So again, it just lets me keep going until I get it right.
Yes!
This game is probably not the best one to show you
Read
because
the
there are a
synonym
couple of other.
and
There are
choose the
definitely
word
a few
that
games on here,
matches.
where you know it makes you learn. It forces you to learn it, and the kids can't move forward until they actually get it right, and it gives them a hint, and it tells them a part of the definition. I mean, there's some really great things in here. So, again, let's just see here. So if I get it wrong.
Correct.
And at
Read
the end,
the definition and choose the word that matches.
There we go. Perfect.
Yeah.
It does tell me my overall grade as well.
That
Now the great thing in here is that it does provide the
was
teacher
weird.
with all of that data as well. So
That
it tells
was
me if I do
wacky.
want to take a grade or just
And
generally
that's
see how
the
my kids
end
are
of
doing
our
with vocabulary. It will give the
Join us
teacher
next
at
time
the very
for
end
another
in my
wild,
report. It tells me
weird,
how the kids are doing.
wacky game of Word.
So that's really Vocabulary City in a nutshell. I'm not going to go through it too much. You really just have to explore some of the games. You can do a free trial as well, and then you can see what else is available as far as vocabulary instruction is concerned. But I definitely suggest this, and the reason that I do suggest it is because the kids love doing this at home. So I think what you're going to find is you're going to see a lot of I don't give my kids a lot of homework anyways, but when I say, hey, you know what, go on and play some Spelling City and Vocabulary City at home and practice those words, spelling or vocabulary, the kids do it because they like it, because they like the games. The app is free for parents. So as long as you have a subscription, the parents can download the app at home and the kids can log in with their username and password. Okay? All right, so that is Spelling City in a nutshell. Let me head over, and I'm going to go to Quizlet. In the comments, let me know if you've used Quizlet before. Oh, good question. So Terry said, how much is it? I actually think that it just went up at the end of last year. So my school does a subscription service for Spelling City. So it's a little different for me. I don't pay anything right now, but when I did pay for it, probably 3 or 4 years ago, I believe it was around $50 a year. But I think, if I remember correctly, it does cover enough for like 2 classes. Like you can have up to like 60 kids. So with that being said, when I did pay for it myself, I split it with another teacher. So you can do that as well. Okay. So a little expensive, but I would definitely say well worth it. And if you can split it with another teacher, or get your school on board, that's even better because then you don't have to pay it all. So let's see. 25 slots. Okay. All right. So we would definitely have to look into that. But yeah, if you can get your school on board, I mean, that would be even better. Let's see here. So I do want to talk about Quizlet, and Sarah just mentioned Quizlet Live. Quizlet Live is really what I wanted to talk about tonight because it is probably the best thing that you will ever get, and it's totally free. And the students absolutely are obsessed. My kids last year, when I introduced this towards the beginning of the year, they were totally obsessed with Quizlet Live. And I'm not sure, Sarah, if you found the same results, but it was fantastic. Excuse me. So Quizlet is, if you have not heard of Quizlet before, Quizlet is a website where you can make study sets. And when this started, probably, oh man, it's been a really long time that this site has been around. This site used to be very, very basic. Like it was more of just flashcards. You used to have, kids, they were able to look at a word, a vocabulary word, and then on the back of it, they clicked it, and on the back of it, there was a definition. So it was really just a digital form of a flashcard. Now it's a little different. So there's a lot more that we can do here, and it is free. There is a subscription, but I've never done a subscription before. So I don't think that I've done almost everything that I can imagine that I want to. So I don't think you really need to pay for anything here. I never have. So I think you're fine without it. So yeah, Sarah, they were obsessed. Totally. My kids were always asking me, hey, can we do a Quizlet? Can we do a Quizlet? So this is a perfect way to spiral your words, right? And so when I mean spiral, I think, a lot of us use this term. It's just making sure that we're, the first week of school, we do 4 words. Okay, well, the second week of school, we need to make sure that we're covering the second week words. But also, we don't want to forget about the first week's words. So we want to make sure that we're continuously using those words. So what I did here in Quizlet is you can add throughout the year, you can add the words to a specific list. Okay, so I can create a list and I can start putting in those words. I can enter the definition as well. So that is all there for you. I can say, we can also name the set. So if you want to say like, Mr. Malt's class, 3rd grade, 2017, 2018, just so you have a running list of all the words, you can do that. So once you enter the words, the kids now have access to some activities. I'm just going to pull up a list, because the other great thing about this, and I'll mention this very quickly, is that there are already word lists created. So if you don't want to make one of your own, if you don't want to type in the words that you're using, I would suggest doing that, because that will help your kids practice all the words that you've been doing in your classroom. However, if you are looking for a very specific set of words, or if you just want to go in and find what some other teachers have used, you can do that. So I'm just going to type in like 3rd grade social studies. Okay, all right, 3rd grade. Oh, I spelled it wrong. Let's see here. There we go. Okay, so 3rd grade social studies. So if I do that, here are some words. So these ones looks like revolution, boycott, Congress. Okay, that looks good. So if I click on that list, it takes me over to this. So now you'll notice that there's a bunch of options up here. So you can copy this. So you can copy it into your own set, into your own section. And by the way, you can create an account in here. It is a free account. You can do a paid account, but like I said, you're more than okay to do your free account. When you say copy, this means that you would copy it into your own personal sets. So that way you have quick access to that in the future. So you can also share the set. You can add a set to the class or the folder, and then there's more information about the set. Down here where it says study, so the students can actually go and you can assign this to them. There is an app. They can also just use the website as well. So they had the option for flashcards, and that is pretty much what we were talking about. So there's the definition and then the word. And basically, it's just, if you picture just an index card like we used to make them when I was in school, right? That's basically what it is, except it's in a digital format. There's a few different options here. So there's a learning, a spelling, they can take a test, there's a match, and there's a couple of games here as well. The one that I really want to talk to you tonight about is the live. And I will, before I say that, let me just tell you one quick thing. If you're making your own set of the vocabulary words that we are going to use in your classroom, whether it's through the foldable or the centers or words that you have yourself, if you're making the list yourself, in order to play Quizlet Live, you need a couple of things. First of all, you need to make sure that you have at least 12 terms, okay? So if you don't have 12 terms, it's not going to work. So notice this one, it has 31 terms. There's 31 words in this particular set. So if you don't have 12, you're not gonna be able to do it. So the first couple of weeks of school, if you're entering words in here, you're not gonna be able to do a Quizlet Live. So you might have to wait till like the 3rd or the 4th week of school to introduce this to kids, which I'm telling you, once you do it, they're gonna wanna keep playing forever. So. So that is something that you just keep that in mind. You need at least 12 terms. Okay, so this one, I will also say that when you do live, you also need to make sure that you have devices. You do need to make sure that you have at least 6 devices. They can be Chromebooks, they can be laptops, computers, although I would say computers in your classroom, it's a little tricky to use because they really need to be portable devices. So even an iPad is perfect. So if you can have like 6 you can have a minimum of 6 iPads, that's perfect. If you have a 1 per student, that's even better. Okay, so if you can do 1-to-1 with this, that's awesome. But if you don't, you could have a minimum of 6. Okay, so let me show you what this is. So I'm going to click on Live, and I just want to make sure that you have access to computer sound, which you do. Perfect. Okay. All right. So I'm just going to show you a quick. This is a guided tour of Quizlet Live, and this is someone who actually works at Quizlet, and he explains it really well, and you can see what it looks like. So I'm just going to play this video for you, and then we'll pick it back up.
Hi, I'm Thompson. I work here at Quizlet. Today we're going to show you our new in-class activity, Quizlet Live. Quizlet Live allows you to use your study sets in the classroom to help your students learn soft skills like teamwork and communication and hard vocabulary skills. I'm here in Quizlet's office with our team. We love to test our products before we ship it out to all of you. Today, the team are my students. Say hi, team.
Hi, Mr. A.
We're going to show you what Quizlet Live will look like in your classroom. Every student will need a computer or a mobile device. First, we'll select Live Study Mode, and then click Create Game. So my teacher computer is telling the students to type Quizlet.live into their web browser. Quizlet Live works with a mix of devices, so any student should be able to join in no time, just by entering the 6-digit code above. As students join, you can see the student count and the names of students who have joined. It's important to encourage your students to type in their real names. That way, they can easily find their team at the next step. If one of your students types in a nonsensical name, you can easily click to scratch it out and then have your student re-enter their name. Quizlet Live creates random teams of 3 to 4 students. This helps students who normally don't talk to each other learn to work and communicate together. Now our students will move around to get into their teams. Teams will need to communicate to pick the right term and work closely together to get each question right. We find that Quizlet Live works really well for introducing new material and final reviews before assessments. My teacher computer is now projecting the leaderboard. The first team to 12 wins. However, one wrong answer will send you back to the start. Oh, sorry, snakes. Congratulations, penguins. As soon as the game is over, we can review how the whole class did. We can see what terms they learned by playing the game, terms they regularly missed, and terms they know by heart. I can also use this time to review frequently missed pairs and help reinforce these concepts. We've been testing this game in schools across the country. We're always looking for ways to improve it, and we want to hear about problems you encounter. Thanks.
Okay, so you can see that is an awesome way to practice your vocabulary words, and I would definitely tell you if you have the chance to use that, even if it's not for your vocabulary primary vocabulary instruction, maybe it's just going to be for science or social studies or one of your other content areas. Definitely check that out because the kids are totally obsessed with that. Now, the one mistake that I made, and as you explore this a little bit, I would definitely tell you to go on and check out some of the word lists and things that are already available. One thing that I would tell you to do is just to make sure, because I did make this mistake in the very beginning, I had kids sitting at their seats or, they were around the room in different places. They really need to be close together. It works out a lot better. And like you saw in the video, the collaboration that you'll see from this is totally unbelievable because the kids are looking at their screens, they're looking and they're saying, hey, do you have this? They're really working together in a way that, honestly, I didn't really see before I used this game. And that was something that that I thought was fantastic. So the teamwork that you'll see in the collaboration that you'll see in this, it was awesome. Okay, so do you have any questions about that? Any questions about any of that? I see a couple over here. So Megan, you said that you used flippity.net for flashcards and vocabulary practice. So that might be something to check out as well. So it's flippity.net. Okay, I don't really have much experience with that, so I'll have to check that out too.
So I'd like to thank everyone for joining us for the webinar. And I also would like to tell you that you can get a free vocabulary digital resource by scanning the QR code here or by using the link below. That'll also sign you up for Mr. Malt's Marketplace webinars and also the newsletter. If you'd like to join that, go ahead and scan that QR code or type in the link and you will be directed to sign up. Thanks so much again for joining us. Have a good one.